Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll for Thursday, March 30th, 2023. It's here, opening day, and you see behind me friendly Fenway as the Boston Red Sox will host the Baltimore Orioles at 2:10. But today is that time of day, our weekly trip to FLA with good friend and colleague, Mr. John Murges. We'll talk a little last week, March Madness, how he did, how he fared, what he expects in the Final Four, and maybe who will be cutting the nets down on Monday. And, of course, we'll dive into some MLB action today. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. John Murges.
Hey, what's happening, Jeff? Happy
Good
opening
morning.
day, buddy.
Yes. Play ball. Good morning to Connor. How are you,
Start
Connor?
that pitch. Yeah, start that pitch clock. 15 seconds. Here we go. Boom.
You know, so many people are making so much of this. I was listening to Josh Towers yesterday on VSiN, and he brought up some great points where the holding on to the ball is actually going to slow the runners down. Yeah, you only can throw it over there twice, but you get those feet locked in there, and, you know, it's not going to be as big of an advantage. The pitcher's already now engaged where the hitter is looking to get in there, take his time, get that rhythm. Poppy, you know, steps out, gloves, Nomar, all that stuff. Then the hand up, and then get in, and then the process begins. Well, these pitchers are going to be sitting on the rubber saying, let's go. And so the timing early to start the season might be a little off.
Well, that's why, I'll start the season just betting a half unit on these games because the first 10 days is going to show us a lot. Today I'll be watching baseball all day. Now, remember, the bases are bigger too, as you know. So they've made the base bigger. I was talking to our buddy Sean about this. You know, Sean, other than horse racing, one of his passions is baseball. And we talked about, runners and the first base coach. There's 2 seconds left on the pitch clock. Now, maybe the pitcher's thrown over there his 2 times. Well, now you're watching that pitch clock. You can't throw to first. The guy leading off, he's got a hell of a jump to steal second. Or to steal third, for that matter. It's going to affect the game. I expect to see more runs because of this. Pitchers love, we've watched these guys, so many big guys that love to, adjust their batting gloves every at bat and adjust the valve. Can't do that anymore. So guys got to come up there ready. I don't think the pup likes what I'm saying, but listen, pup, it's the way it is. Now with the bases being larger, I mean, doubles will be triples in some cases because you hit the inside of that bag. You get almost a foot more sliding into third. You know how many close plays there are at third base when a guy's trying to stretch in a triple? Well, now he's safe. But that's why anybody who bets, I know, we get excited. We want to bet all the games, but as an investment profit making scenario, you want to start out light. And then, if you see success and you find success, you increase those bet sizes.
100%. We were talking backstage, and again, it's a process where you might have success early in the year in sides or totals. We were talking about the big favorites at home, where people will say, I'm not going to lay that big number, but I will take them minus the 1.5. And what people don't really understand, or they just choose not to, is that you're already shortening your odds even more. Where a home team, let's see a home team let's say the Padres tonight. Padres right now minus 212 at home against the Rockies. And pitching matchup is, where is that one? Snell versus Marquez. And they're going to say, well, I'm not going to lay the 212, but I'll take the Padres minus the 1.5 on the run line. Guys, you're only guaranteed 24 outs. The Rockies are guaranteed 27 outs. Now, I know if they win 4-0, 4-1, 5-2, whatever, you're like, I told you so. But the fact of the matter is, you got a 3-1 lead, top of the ninth. In comes Josh Hader, walk, single, double, 3-3. And Padres get a walk-off homer by Machado in the ninth, 4-3. Thanks for playing. So unless you're going to get that guaranteed 2-run, 3-run, or grand slam, just be careful on those. Thoughts on home team run lines full game, John?
I mean, home team run lines full game. I don't necessarily, and you brought up some good points. I mean, I'll pick my spots. If I feel that laying the 1.5 um, against a team, of course, that's having a hard time, we'll look at averages. Our sample size is 0 right now. All we can go by is what we've seen in spring training, if anybody, and a lot of people haven't watched much spring training, and so we'll make those decisions. But as I go through the numbers right now, I mean, would you take the run line in the Braves game? They're at Washington. You got Max Fried pitching. I mean, that's a game where laying the 1.5 with the Braves. I mean, they should go out there and smoke Washington. Lay a 1.5. That's the road team, laying the 1.5. With home teams, it becomes a little different. This is just going to be one of the more strange starts to a season. First of all, with the pitch clock. Second of all, with the size of the larger bases. So it's going to be like feel our way around this. Compare this game to the other games, um, and we'll see. I mean, we're going to have to, Jeff. To be honest with you, we're going to have to see how this all pans out. I want to see how many issues there are as far as the pitch clock. How many guys are called out? How many pitches are called strikes because the pitcher didn't deliver in time? But yeah, that's one thing I wasn't thinking about. You brought up a good point. You're allowed to throw over. I mean, this changes the game considerably. You're allowed to only throw over to first base two times. Uh, you know, what if Ricky Henderson was still playing? And there's some base stealers out there. I mean, the guy takes a huge lead. Tim Raines, guys that could steal bases. That wouldn't work. Guys would throw over 5, 6 times, keep close to the bag, especially in a 1-1, 2-1 game. Nobody out. You got a base stealer on first base. You got to keep that guy, honest. Not with 2 throws over and you're done. You're not going to be able to keep him too honest on that next delivery. You're throwing home. You can't throw to first. He's gone. You're going to end up with it's. I want to see how it works out. I don't want to start slamming Major League Baseball for changing a game, but these are drastic changes. I mean, that base has been the same size since they were playing the game in 1858. Whenever the first game, I think they were using poles back then, if I'm correct. But then they did go to bases. These bases, I don't know, Jeff. You're a kind of a baseball historian, also. These bases have been the same size all for 100 years, haven't they? We're gonna make the
Listen,
game. Here, I
Babe,
got one. Let's make the bases bigger. Okay. I
you,
mean, who
you,
thinks of this
you,
stuff?
you, the funny is, baseball's the one sport that people are just like, leave it alone. And that's what we did forever. We left it alone. And now you're trying to get the millennials into this game. Listen, when I go to Fenway, it's an event. I
Yes.
don't plan anything before. I don't plan anything after. I know my ass is going to be in that seat for 3.5 hours. I'm okay with it. You know, you don't need to speed up the process where if the Sox first pitch is at 7:10, I'm not making dinner reservations at 9 o'clock at the North End for Straga's. It's just you don't do that, and so it's so comical. And I'll say this again for the 38,000th time. Okay. Watch these owners piss and complain because their 3 hour, 3 hour, 15-minute games are now 2.5 hours, and they're losing a half hour, 45 minutes on beer sales. Once you start taking money out of their pocket, because after the seventh inning, they shut down the beer lines. Well, if you're only an hour and 38 minutes into the seventh inning, you didn't give the guys enough time to drink. And they're just
That's
once they leave the park, they're not going to get any money, more money from them.
That's the truth. And these owners, they're such greedy bastards, as I call them, that they're gonna see their bottom line be affected by that. Selling their concessions and everything else. You want people in the ballpark for as long as possible. When I was a kid going to Wrigley, they'd open those gates like 2.5 hours before the game. I mean, we'd see them rolling out the backstop for batting practice, not just seeing batting practice. Now they open up the gates maybe what, an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, maybe before the game. And yeah, you want the people in the seats drinking beer. They're going to see it. These games are averaging what, 2 hours and 35 minutes. I think I saw is what these, down from 3 hours and 10 minutes. So you're basically losing, more than a half an hour. That's a lot of beer. And when they stop the sales afterwards, um, and it's gonna affect what they make. And really feel sorry for these owners because I think 99.9% of them are billionaires as it is. So, let's cry for them.
I Sean talked about they only can basically throw over once, obviously, because if you throw over twice, the next pitch is an easy steal. So, kind of curious there, where would it be a pitch out? Would it be, I expect to see a lot of these pitches maybe with quick pitches or side steps and slide steps and getting to the mound quicker. Also heard something good from Josh yesterday again, where these relievers that are coming in real tense spots, 0-2, they can just sit there and take the intentional ball there, take the extra 15, 20 seconds and say, hey, give me my ball. I'm okay with it. I need a couple extra seconds to get ready for the fourth or fifth pitch. So he brought up some great stuff. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? That's all I know is we got some games at 1 o'clock, Atlanta and
Yeah.
Washington. I think the Atlanta run line is even like minus 140. Freed versus Corbin there. Team total for Atlanta right now, 4.5 juiced over, minus 137. Corbin and the Nats, 2.5 over, minus 123. And then I think in the Bronx, 1 o'clock, Cole versus Webb, a great game actually. Under over 6.5. I got a team total from the Yankees, 3.5 juiced under, minus 117. San Francisco Giants team total over minus 2.5, over 134. And I see a number of Yankees right now, 167. My actual true number was 161. Any interest in either one of those first games today, John?
I didn't bet either of the first games, and you know, not that I had a reason not to, but just high profile started out. The Yankees, man, I'm telling you right now, 46 degrees at Yankee Stadium this afternoon. It's gonna be a cold, cold day. So that 6.5 number is good. I was taking a look at that number to see if it wouldn't go to 6, it would go to 7 if anything, but it stayed solid at 6.5. Um, that could be a 3-1 game. I expect the Yankees to come out, and play good ball and probably win the game. But if I were to place a bet on that, it would be the under 3.5 with that pitching matchup. You'd be foolish to. It's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a difficult day to hit the ball. Um, uh, the other games that interest me as I look at the schedule. I mean, this is it's what I call the pivot, man. We're pivoting back. Um, Orioles, Red Sox. Um, Red Sox, everybody picks them to finish. Excuse me, last. Um, I'm kind of favoring the Orioles today. Um, Full game, total of 8.5. Throw that out the window. Not too sure about that. Another game I'm looking at closely is Brewers at the Cubs. Marcus Stroman's pitching for the Cubs against, Burns a great pitcher. Brewers are minus 143. It's always a happy day in Chicago to get the winter out of the way and have opening day. I'd lean the Cubs in that game. Excuse me, Jeff, and everybody else. Um, I do like the Rays today, but not at 245. At minus 245. Man, I apologize. I'm battling this viral infection. It's really got me down, but I'll survive. Um, I like Texas against the Phillies. Bryce Harper's going to be out for some time. A couple other guys missing, and Texas should be. You know, those are my early leans. Excuse me. I guess I'm getting too excited here. That's the funny thing. You got Mikolas pitching against Manoa in Toronto at St. Louis at 4:10. The Cardinals look like an easy winner in that game, but that's just my gut feeling. How about you, Jeff? What do you have special for us? Because I'll tell you.
Well, I think that Toronto St. Louis is interesting. I'm kind of surprised Manoa a slight favorite there. Um, I think the late game really intrigues me tonight. Cleveland and Seattle. There's a lot of hype on Seattle this year. And they got Castillo, who was absolutely lights out
Oh,
for them last year, and against Bieber. And the opening number, my true number initially on that game, where's my eyes, was minus 110. It was a pick 'em. Money favoring Seattle home, Castillo home opener. You'll see a lot of that. But I would actually lean Bieber and the Guardians here on opening day. Maybe a first five. I haven't dug that deep into the numbers yet. But maybe even just a first five. Hope to get a 1-0, 2-1 lead there. That caught my eye. I think everyone will be on the Angels and Shoei, minus the 1.5. They're going to stay far away from that. Pretty good value on the White Sox today. Cease versus Valdez. Now, Framber just is a ground ball machine. Home opener, World Series champs, but maybe a first five, try to get some plus money on the White Sox. I like Minnesota. Their team total, they're 135. Now they're up to 154. It's Lopez versus Greinke. Now can the Twins get to 5? Is that the route I go, or do I like them first 5 there? But there's so much to choose from. It's like a kid in a candy store.
oh, it is without. I mean, I'll check out some props after the show and everything else. I mean, this is a great thing about this time is that in just less than a couple hours we'll be watching baseball, and I agree with you on that first five Minnesota KC and Otani minus the 1.5 makes people are going to be on that. Um, Oakland didn't make any much. How can they make improvements? They don't even want to be in Oakland. They should be in Vegas. But yeah, it's a great day to be a baseball fan. But we're fans of all sports, and so hey, if it was Thursday night football, we'd be excited. Um, Maybe not as excited as opening day. There's something special about it. I've got my Vienna beef hot dogs steaming. I'll let them steam for all day. I've got Budweiser's in the fridge. I'm gonna sit back and I'm just gonna watch baseball and oh, I got my peanuts. Got the peanuts. Got everything I needed yesterday. You know, so
I got my Marlins Jose Fernandez shirt on, so I'm going to be wearing that today. We'll be co-hosting with Anthony Pepe on Sports Map Radio at 8 to 10. So anyone looking to listen to some sports talk there, go over to Sports Map Radio from 8 to 10 tonight. Anthony Pepe, myself, a bunch of guests coming on. I know Sean McAdams coming on and a few others, maybe some baseball. And I guess there's a Final Four. I guess there's uh, some basketball Saturday night. And I heard there's a team from Connecticut, Stores, Connecticut to be exact, in the Final Four. 5.5 point favorites against the Hurricanes. First game, San Diego State, FAU. Right now, I think San Diego State -2. That under over looks a little high for me for a San Diego State game at around 131, so which means it will probably go over. And the UConn Miami will be a slugfest where some people think the UConn Miami first one to 80 wins that game. But, anyways, how was your
yeah.
weekend and what are you seeing so far for Saturday?
Well, the weekend wasn't great. I think I played 4 games. Was 1-3. I lost 5 games this whole tournament by the half a point. And these were games where 5.5 where you just couldn't play the money line. It just didn't make sense. Um, but it was tough. I got a lot of calls, text, DMs on Twitter. A lot of guys had this was one of the tougher tournaments, and a lot of upsets. I mean, look at the Final Four. There's not a one to be found. Um, so it kind of got a lot of people. But then again, my units for football, NFL were 500, for college football, 250 per unit. And I can't live on those forever, but it kind of weathered the storm. And I think in total I was about 15 wins, 19 losses, which probably is the worst college tournament NCAA tournament I've had in a while. But we move on from there. I'll be honest with you. I respect Florida Atlantic. They play good ball, but realistically, I do not see this team being able to beat San Diego State. San Diego State, they remind me of Miami. They're 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 gelling and they're getting hot at just the perfect time of the season, the tournament. They've made it to the Final Four. FAU's been living a dream, and I'm telling you right now, I think the dream ends this weekend. They're San Diego State will come out, probably beat them by, I'd say, from anywhere from 6 to 9 points. That's the range I'll give it. I'm running it down. 6 to 9 point winners. Florida Atlantic will keep it close, and they'll try to make you play as you see their style of ball, their pace. But the same thing as Miami will do. Miami's playing great for their coach. He's been with them since 2009, 9 or 11, and they're a good team. And you know what? When you said that first team to 80 wins, man, that's not much of a reach there. I think that's pretty sharp. I think the first team to 80 does win that game. Um, Miami's got the advantage. I mean, UConn. There's a lot of futures tickets, including ones you hold. I mean, I know you're not the only person I know holding a UConn futures ticket. There's quite a few guys that are, and gals. And so UConn is going to be is going to be the country's favorite. I, on the other hand, I did a Gaming Today news. Rob Mish did a Gaming Today news piece, and I gave him a Miami is a team that I think can win this game, and I believe it'll be Miami versus San Diego State for the championship game. In which case, I would make Miami 2.5 point favorites. That's just the way I see it playing out. I mean, it's you know, could be right, it could be way off, but just the way I look at it, we're looking at a good chance. Now I know what you're hoping for is a UConn FAU championship game where I mean it's UConn minus 9.5. You're sitting on your nice futures ticket along with my other friends, and it's an easy cash,
That
right?
remind well that would remind, as Sean says, how are you going to predict UConn losing on our show? And the funny part is, Sean, I was talking to him backstage, and it's great to be the huntee. I hate to be hunted. Go back early in December when we were, 14-0, number two in the country, just beat Oregon by 30, just beat Alabama by 13, just beat Okie State by double digits. And I'm telling everyone, just pump the brakes. We need this team in March and in April. And now we get back into the swing and we're just mowing teams down. And now the whole world's crawling. And you can go to any book right now, get a minus 125
Yeah.
to win this whole thing. And it's Sean, I said this to him. I was like, I was born at night, not last night. There's a train wreck coming somewhere. And I just, the FAU UConn final reminds me of Duke versus Butler. You had the big high profile versus, the first year, with Stevens, the Butler making the scene in the tournament. And as you see, I'm already crawling out of my skin here. Yeah, I got a 16-1. It could have had 100-1 early in the year, 40-1, but when they started winning, I didn't. But
Yeah, I know someone's
uh,
got a 35-1, a 35-1. That's the highest that I've heard of. I didn't hear any. I mean, I know there was 100-1 when they came out.
yeah,
Um, Florida Atlantic, when they came out, man, they were what 5,000-1.
yeah. I mean, someone did. They were talking this morning that when they very first came out, there was Miami at 200-1 and some crazy numbers. Now, unless you're one of those guys that goes and plays the board here, there a few years back, the guy that had the Texas Tech at plus
Oh
a
yeah,
bazillion, and he showed us that one ticket and prop swap Visa, and everyone ran with it. He didn't show us all the other tickets. It's like going to the window and just betting, 2 dozen. You got to bankroll this thick. It's like when Sean goes up to the window to Circa to bet, his Kentucky Derbies, and he opens up the bags and he starts dumping the money to Jeffrey Benson. That's what these guys do when they come to bet those open and futures. They cover the board in case someone gets hot.
no, you do, and it's kind of funny. My cousin's a guy like that. He'll bet every horse in the Derby,
So he
but
gets
won't
the
tell
win.
you. Yeah, and then pull out the I won. Like, oh yeah, yeah. Wow, you had the favorite. You actually lost 5 grand, but oh, you won. And that's the funny thing about it. Like I said, this year I was futures light, even with my baseball totals, um, win totals. I was kind of light this year. I really didn't get into much. I was trying to hone my skills for baseball because now, you know, as I won't bet many NBA games during the season. Now we have NHL and NBA playoffs, and I'll start. I've already been doing my research, but I'll start to play those. Bet NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. I don't really enjoy the NBA per se, but I do enjoy the playoffs. These guys have proven that they will come out to play, and nothing's more exciting than hockey playoffs. I mean, you want to see real hardcore hockey, the way the game should be played. It's the playoffs. You don't get any better hockey than that. So I'll be so it's a busy time. You've got to kind of balance baseball with the playoffs of the NBA and NHL. And then next weekend, I'm it's going to be here in Tampa. I'm going to go see the championship game of the Frozen Four. We'll see who the champions are, but Boston U's going to be in there, Minnesota, Michigan, and what, St. Cloud State or somebody. I don't know what the fourth team is, but I'm going to go to the championship game at Amalie Arena in Tampa. I've never seen a college hockey championship, so I have a little play on that too. But
We
yeah,
It was in Boston. I'm going to lose track. I want to say it was in Boston last year. If it wasn't, it was the year before. But it was in Boston. I'm losing track of years here. But I took my girls, and we were there for the Frozen Four, not the championship game, the day before. And so we saw the two games there, and we were right behind the Michigan band, and Michigan was phenomenal. And I forget the other team. It was a small school that won as well. Michigan won in the small school. No locals, no BU, no UConn or anything. But we do go to the Bean Pot as well. But the Frozen Four, if you like college hockey, there's nothing better, John. There really isn't.
yeah. No, I was gonna go to the Frozen for the actual 5:30 and 8:30 games, and then I said I'll bring my wife with me. I think she can only handle one hockey game, and she does enjoy hockey. So I figured, all right, let's go to the championship game, and should be exciting. But that's another thing that I'll have money wagered on it. It'll be a good time. But no, this I'm telling you though, Jeff. You know, I'd like to see your Yukon team. I'd like to see you cash that ticket. But I'd like it to be by a blowout. I don't want it to be a close game. If UConn's going to win, let me know somewhere halfway in the second half that UConn's just going to win this game, and I'll feel better. Because until that happens, I'm going to be cheering for Miami.
No, I both games are going to be great. FAU is Cinderella. They've had an amazing, amazing run. The San Diego State team, look what they did over the weekend.
Yeah.
Two great offenses with Alabama and Creighton.
Huh.
And once they dictate the pace, especially against Creighton, the Alabama, they just tried to hang around, and then finally they caught some offensive fire and played their stingy defense and beat Alabama. Creighton, they dictated that pace. And again, if FAU comes in and dictates the pace, well, they got a great shot. If it's San Diego State, first one to 55 or 50 even, thanks for playing, FAU will be gone. And again, in the UConn Miami, both offenses I think are equal. I give the edge to the coaching at Miami, but defensively, I think UConn's got a big edge. Now, we haven't seen Sonogo get into foul trouble. We haven't seen Hawkins cold. We haven't seen that UConn offensive drought. I got tapes if anyone wants me to send them to you. It's there. It just hasn't happened during this run. So it's been a great run. You get to Houston, and and there's TJ now. He hears the U. Yes, TJ, the U. So it's gonna be a great tournament for sure. Tell everyone where they can find you, John. I know the scroll has been going the whole time at Murges John on Twitter. You still accepting members, or how's that going?
Sure, I mean, I gave everybody 2 years that signed up early, but I'll always take on clients. Just DM me, and I'm always accessible. A lot of the clients I actually have phone conversations with, going over what we plan on doing and what our strategy is. But just follow me at Murges John, and you know I'm hoping for and working towards a good baseball season this year, and we'll use a lot of strategy. But yeah, always looking for new members.
Go follow him on Twitter at Murges John. If you follow John, believe it or not, he'll follow you back. And if you ask him a question, yeah, he'll answer you. He'll
Okay.
actually take the time to answer you. So, to everyone that was here this morning, Connor, Sean, TJ, thank you guys so much. If anyone watching right now is not following us on our YouTube station, please jump over there to East Coast Sports Investors. It's free. Subscribe. Go follow John. Go follow me at EC Sports Invest, and let's make some money. At 1:30, Matt Grissom at Grissom Tweets will be here. We're going to talk some college baseball. We get some great matchups coming in today in the SEC. And at 3 o'clock, Andrew McGinnis will be here talking some NHL, big NHL slate as we're getting closer to the playoffs. And then, of course, at 5 o'clock, Riley Magnuson will be here for the closing bell. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from John Murges and Murges John. Everyone, enjoy opening day. Have some fun, some hot dogs, crack eggs, a few cold ones,
Go
and we'll
Cubs!
see you soon.